She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me not. I'm not talking about Trish. I'm talking about my wife. She'd love one of these English roses. Good afternoon and welcome to the Kerry Garden Show. Alan Finn with you here again. And we are going to be talking about beautiful roses. Now, we just have to go find Trish. So we are back amongst the roses here at Boyles of Killorglin, and it is time to chat to Boyles' own very rose.
Oh, thank you.
It's our Trish here on the Garden Show. How are you doing, Trish?
I'm very good. I'm smelling beautiful
You're
around
smelling
here anyway.
beautiful, I tell you what, and it's looking beautiful here as well too. So earlier on in the season, of course, we did do a little show about roses. We said we're going to be back. And now
we're back.
It's time to go back on about them. So what is the important thing to keep in mind at the moment with the roses, Trish?
I suppose like that, as you said, we done a show earlier in the season. The roses were only that size. There was hardly a leaf on it or whatever. So I just want to show you the different roses, what they look like. And now is a good time to come into the garden centre because people like looking at roses. And at least if you look at that red one there, you can say, oh, that's absolutely fabulous. I love that red. Even if you're not ready to plant it, take the name of it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many, like that's a deeper red then, you know, it's kind of a purpley
Kind of
red.
pinkish, yeah.
Come in, have a look, and there's different types as well.
Okay.
Now, a lot of people ask, because there's so much full and flower at the moment, can we actually plant roses this time of the year? You can.
Okay, right.
There's no problem with that. So that's first off, because they all come in pots.
Yes.
So basically what you'd be doing now if you had something like that.
Transferring them into the ground.
Exactly. You're just taking off the pot and planting it into the ground.
Yeah, so it's not like people might have this idea about clippings and all that sort of stuff they might have done. It's not. So it's there's no set time frame for it.
There is not. No. Now, the only thing is, I suppose, if you are planting this time of the year and you have beautiful roses on it, it might drop some of the flowers once you plant it because obviously the roots are gone into shock, going into the ground or whatever. But I wouldn't worry about it. I'd actually prefer to plant roses because you might look at a label, like if you look at the label of that, you know, it doesn't really show the beauty of this.
No, absolutely not. It's even just, it's a bit flat, the colour.
Exactly.
You don't see the vibrance.
So you don't see how vibrant. So I like planting roses myself this time of the year because you can see exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
Now, with roses, you do need a good rich soil. They won't do in a very wet soil, they won't do in a very dry soil, they won't do in windy conditions, a lot of them. So a nice sunny and a nice fertile soil would be the best.
Okay.
So if your soil isn't great, make sure that you get maybe G-up or farmyard manure, dig it into the ground, any organic compost, dig it into the ground, dig in a bit of fertiliser, give them a good start because they don't like to be hungry and they don't like to be starved.
Because that was the one thing we did go about, talk about the last time, is how, you know, they are really, really hungry for nutrition. They're hungry for sun.
Yes.
They really do take a lot.
They do take it. Like, I mean, if you don't have full sun the whole day, that's fine too. But as long as they get kind of six hours anyway. I know it's kind of hard sometimes in Ireland.
I know, it's been, the last couple of weeks haven't been great, I suppose,
but even
really.
if as much sunshine as possible would be best for them. They will perform in less sunshine, but not as good.
Okay.
So obviously the more sun you have, the more flowers, the more vibrant, the more the scent comes out then as well in the nice warm day. That
it just brings out everything, really, doesn't it? It brings out everything.
So I was just going to go through a couple of roses. Say for starters now, people always wonder, what's a climbing rose and what's a rambling rose? So
okay, yeah, because you were telling me about this one in front of me is a rambling rose, and I'm like, okay, it's very different.
The name of that is Seagull.
Okay.
Now, people that are not looking on Facebook and listeners on the radio, it's got a small little white flower with a yellow centre on it, and there's loads of flowers together.
There are hundreds of little buds on this thing now at the moment.
So you can imagine,
really
Alan,
nice.
when you've that climbing up a wall or an old tree or something like that, you can hardly see a leaf on it. It's just so much covered in flowers, and it's fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, with roses as well, they're not self-clinging. So you have to remember, if you're putting it up against a wall, you need trellis, you need wire, you need to attach it onto something.
Okay, needs a bit of help.
Needs a bit of help, is right.
Yeah.
Now, this red one that's here beside me, this is a climbing rose. Most of the climbing roses have big single flowers and they're more rigid. Right, so that would be ideal for a wall that is going straight up a wall, whereas your rambling would be great for going over arches, going over tree stumps.
Okay, right.
You know, going over maybe a bank or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's more flexible.
Okay, right. So it kind of spreads out a lot more, while the
It
Would
does. That rambling rose can
Rambling
grow
rose?
anything to about 25, 30 feet.
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
so
That's
they can
really
be
big.
quite vigorous. So if you
Yeah.
have a good area that you want to cover, rambling would be great. If
Okay.
you've got your wall or you've got a trellis in front of maybe your oil tank or your bins, your climbing rose would be best for
Would be
that.
ideal,
Now we
okay.
only have the white and the red here. As you can see behind us there, we've loads of different colours between yellows and pinks.
Beautiful. Like
Yeah.
even just, you know, the
They're
ones
fabulous,
here, there's loads
like,
of different
so
colours.
there's loads of different colours. So that would be your climbing. Now, these are very popular. These are your flower carpet roses. We've got them in our white and yellow and pink and red and salmon, and it goes on.
Okay.
But these are fantastic for flowering. They are absolutely brilliant. Now, they will grow to about 2 feet high by about 2.5 feet wide. Can be grown in a pot or directly into the ground. And you can see by the flower in that, they seem to be quite hardy as well.
Yeah.
They don't seem to get a lot of diseases or anything like that.
Okay, so they're
as
very,
well.
very
So
good rose for
they are-
someone who
yes,
might.
that mightn't, because everybody again has the perception of when I'm buying a rose, oh, sure, no, I won't
Hard
bother.
work.
Hard work is
Yeah.
right, but it's not. Like even the other ones that might need a little bit of work, it's only every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Just get a little bit of rose clear and spray it, and that's it. Like,
Yeah,
do you
yeah.
know, there's nothing.
As long as you said the area is the area is right and the soil is right,
Exactly.
it'll do the rest.
And another thing with roses as well is don't plant them too close together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you come in, we can go through because there's so many different roses, so there's widths. If you plant them too close together, what happens then is that not enough air circulation getting in between the rows.
Oh, and that can
So
cause disease.
Exactly. It causes your funguses, your moles, and all that. So
Okay.
they might be small when you're planting them and you think I'll put them in a bit closer, but
Yeah.
do realise how far they spread and then go by that then as to what space.
And how
that you
tall would
have.
those carpet roses get to?
They grow to about 2.5 feet high.
Okay, so it's perfect for,
Yeah.
for nice if you were, again, maybe wanted to divide a garden and you just have these as a
Exactly,
divider and
yeah.
then you still have lots to go
You
behind.
have lots behind then, and roses are invaluable for the flower that they give. Like the flower from June up until about October, November. Even these flower carpets can keep going on till November, December. I have a pink one now in my garden, and no lie, it flowers at Christmas nearly.
Oh, go
It
away.
just keeps on going.
Wow.
But again, another trick then with roses is deadheading.
Yes.
Right, it is quite important. Now I have one here beside me. This is a standard rose, and you can see here where the flowers are dying off on that. Right, so what I would do with that then is just prune it back, and prune
Okay.
it back to where the next leaf is. And what that does then, it encourages more buds to come on. So you see here now, there's more buds.
Yeah.
That
it
old
works.
is not taking any energy from the plant. If you leave it there, then
It'll
it'll take the food, nutrition, or whatever.
And because it needs so much, you know, every little
Exactly.
deadhead is actually it's vital.
And like that, then it tidies up the bush as well. Because if you've got half with dead flowers on it, and then
Yeah.
the petals are going all brown,
Ah,
it just
no,
doesn't
no, it
look
just takes
nice.
takes
So
the
like
shine
even
off
if
it.
you see here now with the yellow one, like it's lovely. There's no dead head or there's no dead ones on it. The foliage is a lovely bright green, and it's just beautiful. So they can be actually grown in pots as well, the flower carpet roses.
Okay.
So they would be nice. Now going on here, then a lot of people. There's a hybrid tea rose and a floribunda.
Yes, they're the two you always
they're the two
mention.
that
Yeah.
we're always mentioning, and people are going, what's the difference between that? So now is a great time to have a look. If you look at a hybrid tea, it's a big single rose. So like that is absolutely fabulous. So what you have is your one stem and one single rose.
Okay.
But I'm not just saying one single rose per
Per
plant.
plant, yeah.
There's loads
Just
of single
on each
roses
stem.
on each stem of it.
Yes, okay.
Whereas your floribunda here beside it has
Right.
got clusters of roses
So
together.
you're talking about 6 on one stem
Exactly.
there. you
Now
know.
there's different varieties. Some of them would be a little bit bigger on them then as well. But again, if you were in a bit of a more exposed part of the garden or whatever, where you're planting them, I'd actually go with floribunda roses.
Floribundas, yeah.
Because if you can imagine, that's up on a stem, it's taking the wind a lot more. And
gonna
even as
take
I'm
the-
doing
yeah.
it now, the bottle petal is kind of coming off. Whereas if you shake that, they're all protecting each
They
other.
are, it's great.
And
yeah,
it's
yeah,
much, much hardier as well. Again, a lot of the roses have lovely names on them.
They do?
You have a mum and a million here. There's a dad one as well.
Yeah.
And this one here then is called Looking for Love.
And there's this one back here actually is called For Your Eyes
For
Only.
Your
and
Eyes
it's,
Only,
It's
so-
beautiful kind of peach and red colours. And what type of rose is this one now?
this is
one
what we call a standard rose.
standard rose,
right?
yes.
So what a standard rose means is that you've got a long stem on it and you've got the bush on top.
Okay.
So I think I was saying before when we did the last show, if you're doing out a whole rose bed, it's nice to give a bit of height as well. So if you've got a rectangle bed and say it's about 15 feet long, you could put 3 of these in the centre and then have your, whether it's your floribunda or your hybrid tea, around it then on either side,
Yeah.
a row to the front and a row to the back. So that it actually draws the eye up then as well.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
But with the standard roses then you need to stake them as well.
Okay.
It's like a tree and everything. So you just need to stake them so that they're nice and steady.
Yeah.
But they're fabulous now. But one of the favourites of roses would be the old English rose,
Okay.
because the fragrance on them is just next to none.
And just the amount of petals.
Yeah, like
it actually seems like it has more petals than the rest of them.
it does. It's a real double flower on it, and
Yeah.
they are absolutely handsome. They're
Yeah.
fabulous. Just even come in, even if you're not buying a rose, come in and smell
Come
them.
in and smell them. I know.
Because
I'm
they're so
just in heaven here
beautiful.
now at the moment with just the smells are just
Yeah.
absolutely
Yeah, yeah.
fabulous. But I suppose we go back then to people who have roses. They're out in the garden, and while it's beautiful to come in here and, as you said, see it, maintaining
Yes.
the rose clear and the feeding.
Yeah, so basically at this time of the year, when we're getting conditions that you might have the sunshine, you might have rain, and it's humid conditions, it does bring on more diseases, not just in roses, but every plant.
Yeah.
Right? So what you need to do is keep an eye on roses. Now I'd say it's only every 2 weeks, once every 2 weeks. This is ready to use and everything, so there's no mixing up with water or anything like that, and you just spray it onto it. Now, try not to spray it on the flower.
Okay.
Now, it might be difficult, say, if you had the climbing rose.
The rambling rose
Yeah,
here,
the
it's got
rambling rose or
everything,
whatever.
yeah.
So it's
There's
just
so many
on the
flowers.
leaves of it.
Okay.
So if you can, just to get down low around it
Yeah.
and just to spray it.
So I guess what you're doing is you're just making sure the nozzle is kind of come down from above.
Come down, yes,
and have the
exactly.
nozzle just in line or below the rose
Let's see,
itself.
that's it. If possible,
If
that
possible.
would be great.
And if it gets on any of the buds underneath,
It's
will that,
fine.
it
No,
will be
it's fine in the buds. Now, if it does go on the petal of the rose, it might just tarnish them a little bit. You might
Small
see a
little
little
bit.
white spot on them.
Okay.
The other thing is don't do it in direct sunlight. Never spray anything in
Yeah.
direct sunlight.
Early
So
morning
early
or
morning
late
or the
evening.
evening.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes in early morning, you just want to check if the leaves are wet. Don't do it. So
Okay.
wait till the leaves are dry then as well.
Okay, okay.
So as you say, even the evening time.
evening's probably the best,
Yeah, it's
so.
probably the best that you're able to just spray them. And again, using all chemicals, wear your gloves, wear your mask, just to protect yourself then as well. If you didn't want a ready-to-use one, you've got a lot of roses. We've got ones that you can make up. This is multi-rose, and I've also got the rose clear. So you'd make it up yourself and put it
Okay,
into
so
your
that's
knapsack
mixing it
sprayer.
into-
If you've
okay.
got like big rose beds,
Yeah.
that wouldn't go far then.
Yeah.
And there's chemicals there for that. So that kills both the green fly and the white fly, and it protects then against your mildews, your black spot. But I always said before, once the leaf had come on the rose, that was the time to start spraying,
Yes.
because
To protect it right from an early start.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. But you will get green fly. It just slows down the plant. It's just one of these things.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
Now, the other thing then as well, we were on about it before, is the rose fertilizer. So you can put any feed on it, but I always find the rose fertilizer is the best, because
Yes, okay.
there's magnesium in it and it strengthens the plant up. So if you've got a good strong plant, it's less prone to getting diseases, and it performs better in bloom wise then as well.
Okay.
So a handful of that around it every now and again, every couple of weeks,
Yeah.
and that'll be
And
fine.
it's just throw it along the top. You don't have
Throw
to
it
dig in
along
or
the
nothing.
top,
No.
it'll be fine.
Okay.
But if it's very dry conditions and you've loads of sun, just water it in
Water
after
it in.
planting.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the main
yeah.
thing with that.
Fantastic.
So, and there's also another lovely one here. It's a yellow one. It's another one of our English roses. And you can even see by that then as well, it's a beautiful double
Oh,
flower
stop,
on it. The
yeah.
scent of it is heaven. Now with the shrub and the English roses, they usually grow that bit higher.
Okay.
So you're talking about, it could grow 4 to 5 feet high. Some of them grow 6 feet, some of them grow 3 feet. So make sure to have a look at the label. They're all labelled with the heights on them, or just ask for advice when you come
Yeah.
into the garden centre.
Because it's then it's about positioning. You put them in the right place, because you don't want to have them
Yeah.
in a place where they're it's not gonna flourish.
That's it. Now, they always say as well, roses are best planted on their own because they don't like the competition from other
Yeah, because that's
trees
what I
or
was thinking.
shrubs.
Because with the standard rose, I was like going, would you actually put stuff around the base of it? Because
I'd keep it all roses.
yeah, okay,
I'd keep it roses. Now, the likes of the shrub roses, they can go in amongst other shrubs.
okay.
They're that bit hardier. But again,
The clue's in the name.
Yeah, exactly. Prepare your hole properly, put in your compost, put in even the fertilizer as well with it when you're planting them, and they should do fine.
Excellent.
But keep deadheading, that's the main thing.
Deadheading.
Deadheading.
Yeah.
And even keep the petals then, and you can have it, dry them out, and you can have your fragrance.
Have them fragrance. Bring it into the house.
Bring it into the house, and even especially the hybrid teas now on the big single rows. They're
Yeah.
lovely to cut as a cut flower then as well.
Yeah, bring them into the
Put
house.
them into the house.
Because that was one thing, Trish, you've always said it, that it looks nice in the garden, but there's nothing to say you can't bring them into the house as well when they're at their best. And because there are so many other buds, and it will actually even help the rest of the...
It will, yeah. I mean, if you take an odd one here and there and put a bit of foliage then from your garden, if you've got shrubbery that has green foliage, and make up your own little display
bouquet
inside
excellent,
is right.
Excellent. Brilliant. Right, well listen, that's lots of great tips for what people need to be doing at the moment for their rose garden. If you want to start, of course, come in and have a look. As Trish said, it's great to see all the different varieties, all the different colours. Take a note with the height and the different ways they grow, and of course chat to the gang here and they'll help you whatever way they can. Trish, fantastic, great stuff. I'm going to go home here now smelling beautiful.
Smelling the roses.
Smelling the roses. To our own rose here, Trish, thank you very much as always, and thank you as well for listening and watching. For myself, Alan, and everyone here at Boyles of Killorglin, until next time, happy gardening.